All right, we are going live on Facebook. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? I think we may be live. Yo, 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 tell me what you know. Welcome to the Sunshine Show. Woo! Tonight, well, this morning, if you are in the United States. Are we live? I think we may be live. There we go. Morning, this afternoon, depending where you are, we have a really amazing guest in the house, you guys. We have the one and only, the most fabulous, the most beautiful, the most phenomenal, the most Bowie of them all, Keira Kenworthy in the house. What's up?
Hello, how you doing?
I am doing good. It's been about a year since the last time we spoke, and I know you have so many amazing things you've been working on. I cannot wait to go over all of that with you. How's your day been going?
It's going really well. The weather is actually nice for a change. Still cold, but it's not pissing it down. Really excited to tell people what I've been doing. Been very busy for the last few months.
I am super excited. I know that you work with a lot of female musicians, and I'm all about that female empowerment. I love it. I can't wait to talk about it. Tell me a little bit what it's been like getting back to playing music after the whole pandemic.
I think personally, I just went back to it naturally. I mean, I didn't feel nervous going back onto that stage. I think my first gig I did since the pandemic was back in June of 2021 with JOANovARC, and we did like a small venue, I think not far from Manchester. I think I can't remember the name. It was like a town I've never been to before, but going back on that stage was just really exciting, and I had the energy. And I think all of us were just so happy to be back on that stage for a long time because we didn't know when we were going to be back on the stage and how long we were going to wait. But we kept to our guns with practicing, writing music, and just getting through this. And it's definitely paid off. And I'm back gigging again, which is great.
That is amazing. I can't even imagine how you must feel. I'm still waiting to get back on stage. I haven't made it there yet, but I love living vicariously through all of my wonderful friends. And so I just am so ecstatic for you. What did it feel like? Was your heart just like pumping out of your chest when you first walked up on the stage after being gone for so long?
I don't know how to really describe it. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. But I really think there was just this adrenaline rush when it was the very first gig. And even though it wasn't like a big major gig to start off with, I think the fact is it was just unbelievable, because just having a full year of not performing and just going straight back to it, it was just great, absolutely great.
I love
that. I gave it all my might. I just thought, I'm not standing. I'm going to do what I can, move about, just even though we might be rusty. I mean, yeah, I have to be honest, everyone starts off rusty if they've not done it. And I'm sure like when JOANovARC were playing, we made a couple of mistakes, and that didn't matter. We were playing, we gave it all night. Everyone enjoyed it, and that's what mattered.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you guys all for being here with us. Let's check out who's in the comments. We got Don McDaniel, Enrique, we got Leaf, we got James, we got Jason Perry, we got Mama Cantu, David Hammer. He says, I appreciate your energy and hair. Thank you. You can get this hair too on Amazon.com. Who is your guest? Kiera, tell us a little bit about yourself for those that may not know who you are.
So I am a bass player based in North Yorkshire in the United Kingdom. And I started out in a band called Syteria with the lead guitarist of Girls' School, Jack Chambers. That was my first big music venture. And then eventually 2019, I joined another band called JOANovARC. And I've also worked with my dad, Mike Kenworthy, in like a blues rock band called Straighshooter, and he used to be the original drummer for a rock band called Raven. Some people might have heard of that name before. And also I've been a sort of session player as well. I've done all sorts of gigs with various people in different genres. I've even done functions. I'm quite what you call a versatile player, but definitely I love rock music, and that's been my main style that I love doing. But I like all kinds of music, especially funk, soul, southern rock, boogie, that kind of thing. But yeah, just love playing, and it's all about groove with me.
Yes, you are the mistress of groove, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. So would you say that your dad got you into music?
Well, I come from a musical family. I mean, we have like a massive collection of CDs and vinyl, and I've always grown up with different styles of music. I can remember when we went on road trips, we were listening to all sorts of music. And with my dad being a drummer, I think definitely that helped me get into the music industry and being influenced on probably picking up an instrument. I mean, I originally wanted to be a drummer, but I don't know. I just couldn't grasp it, because I think when I did originally do drums for a music exam in school, and I excelled at bass, but I failed miserably at drums. I think it's just because you're working different limbs. It just didn't work. But with bass, it's always been rhythm sections that I've been attracted to, and bass was the other instrument I really liked. So that's why I decided to pick it up. And then eventually something just happened, and I think also my dad noticed that there could be possibility of me doing this professionally, because I didn't just do I did start off doing punk songs, but then I started looking at bass players such as Jaco Pastorius, Norman Watt-Roy from Ian Dury and the Blockheads, Andy Fraser from Free, James Jameson, and that opened up the possibilities of what you could do with an instrument, not just going all the time.
Sure, absolutely. We have Carlos from Portugal in the house.
Hello.
What's up, Carlos? We got Ouija. We got David Hammer. Leaf Arrow asks, do you see yourself playing forever, Kiera?
To the day I die? Possibly. Just, yes. I'd like to imagine myself. I mean, I don't want to think like what my last days would be, but if I'm warm in my bed with a bass, that would be wonderful. Just with the bed, in the bed, with the bass. Quite a morbid answer, but yes, I can imagine myself doing bass for a long time, because I've never had moments where like, oh, I give up, I don't want to do this anymore. Bass has always been on my mind.
So we talked a little bit about all the amazing projects that you've been working on the past year. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know where you want to start, but can you give the fans and the audience a little breakdown about the different groups that you've been performing in? Oh, and you're in the UK, right?
Yes.
So go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, so just kind of going through what's been happening for the last few months. So end of the year, just finished a tour with JOANovARC. We were doing a tour with a band called Vega. Last gig we did was in Inverness, and after that we took a break during Christmas time. And at that time I had a couple of other projects I was working with during the year, because JOANovARC has had a couple of lineup changes during the last year. That's when we got Hazel, and we had to get a depth drummer in to cover for Ellie for the tour. And at that time, just to keep myself occupied, I joined an all-female tribute band to Deep Purple called Diva Purple, which is based in Essex. And I also am starting to work with a blues guitarist called Troy Redfern, and we're doing a tour supporting the Choir Boys. Now, my American fans probably have heard the Choir Boys from an HBO TV program called Peacemaker. And I shared a video of them on there, and I just thought oh, this is great, because I'm supporting them and they've just been mentioned on Peacemaker, DC comic show. And the other thing I've been doing, and this was before the pandemic, but I committed to doing a tour with a dance punk band called Pretty Addicted, which is fronted by a lass called Precious. And it's a more, what I like to call kind of like a shock rock theatrical band, but it has more electronic music. And we've got a tour coming up next month in April.
Okay, could you explain shock rock a little bit more?
So Alice Cooper, Kiss, Square, should I mention Marilyn Manson? Not quite sure. Marilyn Manson, Cradle of Filth. The bands that have like a theatrical. That's where the term shock rock came from.
I love this. I love where this is going. Okay, so tell us about this project.
So I've been doing this. So I've been backwards and forwards with Precious, and we didn't do anything until really lockdown ended, and we were able to rehearse. So I started rehearsing with her just before Halloween last year, and this is where I had to completely change my bass playing a bit because I was using effects pedals. Okay. So I had to listen to the music, and I thought to myself, so there was no bass guitar in any of her songs, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I do my own form of bass tone that kind of not completely copies the synth bass that's on the tracks, but is close to it as I can get, but has my own kind of mark. So I've got quite a rare effects processor called the Boss GT6, which I use quite a lot, and I use electro-harmonic pedals, microsynth, and also polyphonic octave generator. I probably mentioned those before in the last interview, and I used those on all of the songs, and it's been a lot of hard work because you're constantly pressing different buttons at certain times, but it's really fun with the kind of sounds that you get. And I've done a couple of rehearsals, and we also have a drummer now called Chris, who comes all the way from London, and we've been rehearsing in Sheffield for the last few weeks, and we're getting prepared to go on tour, and I'm really looking forward to it.
That sounds so exciting. I can't wait to see videos of this. I can't wait to see your outfits. I cannot wait to I'm so excited for you. All these projects sound super cool. And so we talked about Diva Purple. Tell me about the AC/DC cover.
Oh, Back in Black, yes. And there's actually an interesting story about that because I just did my first gig with them just a couple of weeks ago in Bilston at the Robin 2. And I did no rehearsal with them because BB, who's the main woman and also the rhythm guitarist of the band, she's based in Switzerland. Most of the band's based in Switzerland, but there's selection of musicians from different places. So, and here's a fun thing. Deborah Wilder, who used to be the original drummer for JOANovARC, was playing with us for that gig. Oh, so nice. She was playing drums, I was playing bass. So you had two members of JOANovARC in that band. Oh, and I was really looking forward to it because AC/DC has a big part in my heart because my dad used to be a roadie for AC/DC back when Bon Scott was the singer.
Wow.
And he met my mum at an AC/DC concert, my dad. So, yeah.
It's a true love story. It was meant to be.
yes. So yeah, they play a big part. They're a big part. If there was no AC/DC, I wouldn't exist, basically. So I was really looking forward to playing all the classic songs from Bon Scott era to Brian Johnson era and do the classic hit songs. And we were originally supposed to have an 18-year-old guitarist called Anna performing with us, but I found out she was based in Ukraine. So I found out that this is really the sad thing is she was all ready to do the gig with us until what was happening in Ukraine.
That's devastating.
She's fine now. She's in Switzerland, and the girls from Back and Back have done a GoFundMe page to help her on her way. She's at least she's safe, but I don't know what the situation is with her family. But if people show their support on the GoFundMe page, that would be really good help. And yes, it's just absolutely devastating what's happened, but we're so glad that she's safe.
I will definitely drop the link for the GoFundMe in the comments after the interview for anybody who is interested in donating to that. Kiera, James asks, what is your favorite go-to bass and why?
Well, that's a good question, because I think obviously the main brand that I use is Fender. I've always used Fender basses. So the Fender Precision is probably the main bass that I use frequently with all the stuff that I'm doing. Second would be the Jazz, but if I wanted to put the third, my top three obviously would be the Fender Precision, the Fender Jazz, and the Rickenbacker. But again, the problem is I'll probably go through a top 10, because I can't deny that the Godfrey guitar that I have is absolutely amazing as well, because I've got a custom bass made for me by a guy called Les Godfrey, and it's I feel a bit bad because I've been neglecting it because all these gigs I've been doing is because I'm an endorsee for DiMarzio. I've been constantly promoting the basses that have the DiMarzio pickups on.
Sure.
And but if you've heard it on, well, you get a chance to hear it on some of my videos on YouTube, and the sound is just lovely. Just it's great for slap. It's great, and it's a really versatile bass. The only problem is because it's one of a kind, I'm scared to take it to certain gigs because you can't trust anybody with anything anymore. They just steal it.
Oh, I have always been like that about my touring basses. It's always, do I take a hammer or do I take one of the Rickenbackers? And I'm always very, I always
even the Rickenbacker, I'd be quite frightened because it's a snow glow Rickenbacker. It's quite rare where you see those kind of basses, and someone will think, oh, can get a bit of money for that, and just end up nicking it.
Yeah.
So always.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, always protect your instruments and make sure what kind of gig you're doing.
Yeah. So how many, you have quite the collection of basses, right? I've seen pictures of you.
Yes, I do. I have quite collections. I have been thinking about probably getting a couple more basses, but I haven't decided which ones yet. I have been thinking about possibly getting a Gibson SG and probably another 5-string bass.
Nice.
So, but that's only just a thought. It's not definite because there's a couple of things I'm saving up for, which is probably a holiday after all the bloody crap with COVID.
Sure. So I think I cut you off. We were talking about the AC/DC cover band, and we were talking about Anna, and then where were we going from there?
Well, yeah. So even though Anna couldn't do it, we actually got a lad to cover, a guy called Dave, and he's also in an AC/DC tribute band as well. Let There Be DC, and he obviously plays the Angus Young of the group. He had the horned cap, the schoolboy outfit. He did an amazing job, and I think we give him. It was just amazing that he did it at the very last minute with what was going on, and I think he gets a lot of respect for doing that. And the fact that he was, the one lad in the band, he's done an amazing job, really good job.
And you guys are currently touring right now, or?
There are some gigs that I might be doing with them in the future, but it won't be till later in the year.
Okay.
So at the moment, I've got a gig. Got like a local gig happening in down south with some of the members of JOANovARC. Samantha Walker, who was the original singer, she's doing a solo gig where I'm playing bass, her sister's playing guitar, and Deborah's playing drums. So I've got that happening on Friday. And then next month I've got the tour with Pretty Addicted. And then I've got a couple of gigs doing some biker festivals with JOANovARC, and then got a couple more shows with Troy Redfern supporting the choir boys, because it's kind of been spread out. Everything's just been spread out because I think because of COVID, things have been pushed back, postponed and that. So you don't have like the standard touring schedule where it's like maybe every weekend of that month or day by day. It's just like you do one gig and then maybe in the next few weeks you've got the next gig.
So being in so many different projects, how do you find the time and the brain space for all the material that you have to learn and memorize?
Well, I have no social life for starters. No, don't worry, just kidding. Well, all my spare time, I'm just practicing the sets. I'm pretty good at quickly picking up songs, and the songs that I've already learned like many years ago that I can easily pick up for muscle memory, and that's what I do for most of my time. I mean, like, it's not as hard as you think, because also the other thing I do is I do improvise quite a lot. So if I can't do it in like parrot fashion, as I call, like doing it note for note, I do my own thing with them. So if you've got the main feel of the groove, then even though you don't know it note for note, you're able to just you're able to make something up as you go along. So an example of that is I just did a gig with Pat Fogoni last week, and we're doing blues standards. And with blues, it's so easy to make up your own bass lines as long as you've got the structure, which is 12-bar blues, and you've got the feel of the song and the chords. You're able to just make the bass line up as you go along. So I had all these blues songs, and again, a lot of them I've already played because I played with Pat Fogoni before. A lot of the songs I already remember, but if there were like new ones, I just, it's simple 12-bar blues, so I'll just make it up. So.
Wow, very cool. So is there any advice that you could give people on learning how to improvise and getting comfortable with it? Because it's not, I feel like it's something that's kind of learned, right?
It's very difficult to kind of learn feel because I think as years have gone on, I've gotten a lot better with putting feeling in my playing, because if I go back maybe 5 years ago, I wouldn't say my feel would have been as good as it is now, because it just the more songs you learn and the more music you listen to, you're more likely to pick it up. And again, just like practicing, you know, like improvisation's not always perfect either, because you just really you get a groove going and you can just kind of play along with it. And I do that quite a bit, where I get a backing track up on YouTube and then I just kind of go with the flow on it. And then I come up with some really nice fills. And then there will be ones that just don't work, but it's trial and error. But getting feel is really, I don't know whether it comes through experience or it comes through age or how long you've been playing. But when you get it, it makes life so much easier.
Yep, I agree. Okay, we still have about 30 minutes to go. If you guys have questions or comments, drop them down for us. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Kaylin, Leaf, Dawn, James, Susan, Mama Lane in the house. We got Mama Can too. Eugene Bradley asks, what is your favorite animal? I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you.
I don't know, a snail. What a silly question. I think a cat. A cat's for my life. Tigers, lions, savannas. My God, my life is, those cats are my bloody life. They're basically my children. Samson is basically my baby, because he lies there. Usually, he's not here at the moment, but he usually lies here on the sofa. And he does actually distract me from my work as well, because just today when I was going over some stuff, he just decided to lie on my lap while I had the bass on. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Just like, and also nibbling at my sleeve, just trying to get my attention. He just,
that's
just
so
so lovely.
That's
Yeah.
Leaf says he worked security for AC/DC, a female cover band. That's a pretty cool name.
Ah, cool.
Let's see. Yeah. What's up, Megan and Megan in the house? What's your favorite tea, Kiera?
Tea?
Tea.
Yorkshire tea. There's no other brew that will do, which is Yorkshire tea. And when I've been to hotels, there's only one hotel that I've been to that does Yorkshire tea. And it's not even like a 5-star hotel or anything. It's actually those hotels you get at the service stations. It's called the Day Inn. So I was staying at a Day Inn near Stevenage, and they did Yorkshire tea, which I was just like, oh, thank God, some decent tea. Because usually when you go to travel lodges and that, they do PG or Taifu, and it just tastes, you don't know how long the tea's been there.
This was a serious question. You took this very seriously. I love it.
Well, I come from, because I live in Harrogate, I'm near the place that Yorkshire tea comes from, which is Taylor's of Harrogate. And we've got this really very fancy tea rooms place called Betty's. And a lot of tourists go to that place because they can have afternoon tea and can get all these selections and stuff. But my sister actually works at Taylor's, and we can get a discount on Yorkshire tea, so we're always stocked with it. But it's got a really strong taste, and it's just great to wake up in the morning with a proper brew. I even took it over to America with me. I smuggled some Yorkshire tea over when I went to LA for the first time. The first thing in the morning, I need a Yorkshire tea, not a coffee.
Wow, nice. Maybe I should try the Yorkshire tea. I'm trying to get off the coffee. Maybe I should switch to the tea.
Mm.
Do you put milk in your tea?
For that kind of tea, yes.
Okay.
Don't put it in every single tea. Don't put it in green tea. And don't put it in the other tea. I do like chamomile tea, and I do like green tea. What other tea do I like? Yeah, I think that. Oh yeah, Earl Grey tea is really nice as well.
Nice. Okay, well, Leaf, there you go. There are her top 3 choices of tea. My mama asks, how old were you when you played your first gig?
Oh, my first gig, I'm trying to think. This would be probably when I went to college, actually, because I actually wasn't like super young when I did my first gig. I mean, I did my first jam. I went to a jam night in Harrogate at a place called the Blues Bar, and I must have been, well, it's not really a gig, so I'll say the first time I performed publicly live, I must have been about 17 years old.
Okay.
And my dad got up and did a couple of numbers with us. I think, if I remember, we did Money by Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah.
And I think, well, the thing is, because we were doing not your typical songs that people would play at a jam night, because usually at a jam night people would do like a 12-bar blues or something quite simplistic. We just throw things in like Money by Pink Floyd, Nice and Sleazy by the Stranglers, and we were just kind of playing along because we knew them, and people were like, oh no, I forgot. And like, where do we go now? Yeah, so I would have been about 17 when I performed that.
Very nice. Carlos from Portugal. He wants to know, what is your bass line that makes you dream?
What makes me dream?
What makes you dream? Oh, okay.
Oh, very on the spot this, because there's a
couple. We got some dreamy bass lines that you can share with us.
Oh yes. It's actually it's kind of quite an ambient bass line that I remember. If I go back to some of the 80s music that I listened to, there was a bass player called Mick Karn. He didn't play like a normal bass player. He he did very ambient bass lines.
Okay.
So I remember a song he did, When Love Walks In, and I think I've got the album that it's on, and it just sounded very dreamlike with the harmonics, and it was just really, really nice. It's very, I mean, aside from funk and soul, I like industrial music.
Okay.
Well, so I like the kind of 80s bass lines as well, because they sound very dreamlike. Pino Palladino as well would be an example. If you've listened to Wherever I Lay My Hat, it's a really, really good bass line. The fretless bass lines, I also say, have a very dreamlike quality to them. And what's another one? Hajira by Joni Mitchell, and that's done by Jaco Pastorius. That was actually a bass line that I did in college, because I was working with an ensemble, and one of the players wanted to do a Joni Mitchell song. And if you've heard Hajira, his bass line is just like, it's like doing poetry on there. Is the best way I can describe it.
I love that. Yeah, that's actually beautiful. I believe, is your dad Mike?
Yes.
So Mike, he says Mick Kahn thought you would say that. And James says, Mick, am I saying his name right? Mick Kahn? Mick Kahn?
Mick Kahn, yeah. He used to be in a band called Japan.
Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. Gotta look him up. Speak in the house. What's up? What is up, everybody? Thank you guys for hanging out with me and Kiera this beautiful morning or evening, depending where you are. If you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. Kiera, what is your favorite pint of ale?
Well, to be honest, I don't really drink ale very much, but if I had to have an ale that I have had before, which is nice, and it's brewed not far away, is Timothy Taylor's Bolt Maker. So if you ever go to Yorkshire, I would try Timothy Taylor's Bolt Maker, because I work part-time at a bar actually, and we do Timothy Taylor's there and also the local ale, which is Daleside. And every time we do Timothy Taylor's, sells out so quickly because people love it. And Bolt Maker is a really nice all-round ale, I think.
So do you get to play shows at the place that you work at the bar?
I wish I could, but it's very the corner is very tiny. They do an acoustic. They do an open mic night on Sunday, and it's done by a local musician called Abe Payne, and it's acoustic. There's no room to put a drum kit in there. But I did go up for a couple of numbers. I mean, if I am working there, I tend to keep both my jobs separate, if you know what I mean. Sure, but if I'm feeling like, oh, I just want to play some bass, and if someone brings a bass to the open mic night, I tend to just play a couple of numbers.
I feel like you should just like be carrying your bass around with you at all times, and like have a little mini speaker, and that way, you know, you can always play your bass.
Well, some people have said to me, to take your bass to work. I mean, I wish I could. If I had time.
I know that you have a lot of endorsements and people that you work with. Can we talk a little bit about those?
Yes, well, the two main endorsements that I have is GHS strings and DiMarzio pickups, and I've been very loyal to those brands for the last couple of years. I've had endorsed GHS since 2019. I've been with them, and DiMarzio I've done like a sort of partnership with them, but I am an endorsee for them. I started really properly promoting and working with the brand in 2020, and I got a pair of Relentless pickups from Billy Sheehan himself to try out, and they are just absolutely incredible. And I've got a couple of demo videos with me playing different types of music and testing them out, and also comparing them to another set of DiMarzio pickups I had. I had the standard precision pair originally, and then I replaced them with the Relentless, and just Relentless just blew my mind. And they look absolutely amazing as well, because I just thought to myself, well, I've got a bass with gold hardware on there, and he's doing these gold plated ones. Thought, could you get us a pair of gold Relentless? And he, true to his word, he got me them, and I'm really, really pleased. The ones that I do have on there now actually are a second pair, because I gave my first pair away to my dad's bass player, because he's in a band called Edged in Blue, and he tried them out, and he's like, oh my God, I want them. And I thought, oh, I'll just give him, give him the first
that's kind. That's very kind of you.
Being the generous person I am. And actually, well, I do have my, thought I might as well show you the new addition to the bass family, which is the crafted in Japan 60s precision bass, and they've got the 60s P bass pickups.
Wow.
And again, I've got a demo video trying them out. And again, these two precision basses are probably been the go-to pair for the last gigs that I've been doing. And because I can't think of anything really bad to say about them. They've just really done the job in the way of tone and balance. And I recommend the Relentless and the 60s pickups for those who have precision basses, definitely.
Awesome. And where can we find your video, your demo video? Is it on your YouTube?
Yes. So if you go on to you, basically, I'll sorry, I'm on the computer now.
Oh no, you're fine.
So if you go on www.youtube /c/Keira Kenworthy, you'll find my channel. And if you can just you can forward the link to anybody who's interested to have a look at the bass covers that I've done, and look at the demo videos. More than happy for people, and subscribe as well if you want to check out my latest videos.
Yes, I will drop that link in the comments. Everybody make sure to jump over to YouTube when we are done with this video and go subscribe and go check out Kiera's videos. Let's see who is in the chat. We got Pete in the house. What's up, Bam Bam?
Hello.
Isaac Guzman. Kaylin asks, what's your favorite style of music to play?
My favorite style of music to play? Oh, funk and soul. I know that seems very weird, because I look gothic. I look like I would be into doing rock and metal, but really I love playing funk and soul because of the feel of it. It's just so fun to play. And just, yeah, just before Christmas, I did a really lovely Christmas cover of by Donny Hathaway, called This Is Christmas, and the bass line is just really, really nice. It's just so groove oriented and just really warm, and it's just really nice to play. I do if I'm going into rock, really going back to the 70s, the bass lines I really enjoy. So when I've been doing Deep Purple and that, the bass lines are just really fun to play. So I have an absolute blast when I'm playing with Deep Purple, because really, again, Deep Purple have a big part to play in my musical influence, because my dad's hero is Ian Pace, and I actually I remember meeting Ian Pace a few years back at Monsters of Rock, and my dad, I don't know if my dad was really starstruck, but I got a hug from Ian Pace, and my dad was, I don't know whether he may have wanted to get his drummer magic, and he was just going. It's just a very down to earth person as well. Just having casual chat about drums and music. And I think with Deep Purple, it swings. That was what makes it really fun to play.
Yeah.
When you're playing those bass lines along with that swing type of drumming, it's just really, it just does something for you.
Sure. Your dad.
When I'm playing stuff like that.
Your dad dropped a comment. He says that you said you wouldn't wash for a week after that hug.
He said that. I don't remember. Yeah, he probably did. I would be surprised if he did.
Oh gosh, we are having such a good time. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us. Now, Kiera, a question I asked you last time, I'm going to ask you again this time and see how you answer this time. But if you could throw a dinner party for any 5 musicians, dead or alive, who would they be and what would you serve?
Oh, none of them are vegan. I'm only going to say that. I don't think any of the ones I'm going to pick. Maybe some of the vegetarian. I don't know. I'll have them. But I like curry. I absolutely love curry. So I do like a curry with naan and that. May do a vegetarian. May do a meat one. But it would be Joey Jordison, because recently he passed away, and I think really he was the gate. When I was in school, Slipknot was sort of the gatekeepers to me getting into rock and metal. So Joey Jordison, Frank Zappa.
Oh, this is gonna be a good party.
Yeah. Who else? Les Claypool.
Ooh.
Was it 5?
That's yeah, we got 3 so far.
Prince.
Oh,
Carol Kay.
Oh, I loved that. Oh wow. I mean, that's so much knowledge.
I mean, it's a very eclectic mix. I don't know how that dinner party would go, but Carol Kay would. The reason I put her is because she was the original. She was the original go-to session bass player on all the big hits of the 50s and 60s, and she was also, for a time, in fact, she was a female bass player at a time that you didn't even think there was female bass players. Definitely. So yeah, Joey Jordison, Frank Zappa, Les Claypool, Prince, and Carol Kay.
Oh, and that party is going to end with a basketball game. Okay. Oh man. So what kind of curry? Do you do like a green curry or a Penang? What is your curry preference?
Definitely Indian, but it would have to be my dad that cooks it.
Oh, so
that's very good at cooking his own kind of concoction curry. He makes a very good Thai green curry as well. So I don't know whether it be Indian or Thai, but I really like curry. That's my favorite dish, because I like spicy food, you see.
Oh, I love the spicy too myself. Awesome, you guys. Thank you all for hanging out. We are having such a great time. We're going to start wrapping it up in 15 minutes. If you have any last minute questions, drop them in the chat. Jason Schmidt, what's up? We got Susan Lane in the house. Leaf says, I'd prepare anything for you. I love being in the kitchen.
Oh,
that's
don't make me a sandwich.
Steve Jackson says Prince would make pancakes for everybody after the basketball game, right? Okay. Yes. So tell me, so you say Slipknot was a huge influence in your life? Like,
it might be quite surprising, because obviously with all the kinds of styles that I've been mentioning, but you got to remember, this is when I was really, really young, probably 6 or 7 years old, when I kind of was opening myself to what I would like in the way of music.
Yeah.
And I remember, my sister would have been in her teens at the time, and she was getting into new metal. She was getting into all these, rock has always been in my life. I mean, I've heard Skinner and everything. And then my sister put all these posters up in her room of different new metal bands, Korn, Linkin Park. And then she had this big, huge poster of this band that had these strange faces on there, like they didn't look human. One was a clown, one was in a Pinocchio mask, and there was this band called Slipknot. And when I listened to them for the first time, I mean, you gotta remember, I was like 6 or 7. I'm like, my God, what is this? Like, what the hell? But I like it. It's like nothing I've ever heard before. And that is when I really just got into the music, and I started listening to them. I don't know whether or not my parents were particularly keen on me listening, because they were effing and blinding. I mean, how many F words can you put in a song? And I think they were kind of worried that when I was 6, I was going to do an F-bomb now and then because of it. But yeah, they really were the first band that introduced me to probably metal, basically. And Joey Jordison is a musician. I mean, like his drumming, again, was just, I think really every single drummer that that have come after has been really heavily influenced by him, because he was like so fast, but there was just that raw edge that really appealed to me. And also that hard work and determination of doing so much. Like he's like been working with not only with Slipknot, but so many different bands. And I think that rubbed off on me. Like, you don't have to be in just one band. You can do all sorts of things. And that's why, like, people think, oh, how many bands are you in? But I look at all these musicians, mainly with like Joey Jordison and other musicians, they do all sorts of stuff. They're not in just one band. Hard work, dedication to music.
And no social life, right? We have to put that in there so we can practice all the time. Just joking.
The social aspect of it comes with the job anyway. I mean, I'm not like completely introverted.
I get it.
Your bandmates are like your friends, and you have conversation, but with the free time, it is just music, you know.
Yeah, sure. So where do you see yourself in, the next 3 years?
I would like to think that that I'm doing this as a sturdy living. I don't see myself like becoming a big, rich and famous rock star. I didn't have that. I mean, obviously when people start out, you think, oh, I want to be rich and famous. I want to be a rock star, but you got to have the reality check. You can make a living out of this, but it's all about being right place, right time, and working bloody hard. So that's why I do bass every single day. I don't close the doors on different styles of music, and just really focus on being the best player that I can. And this year has been really different from the others, because even though we've been through a pandemic, I'm actually surprised at how much work has been coming in. That even though with JOANovARC, I'm not just relying on JOANovARC as my only band. I mean, I'm opening myself up to doing all sorts of projects, because you can't just be in one band in order to make a living out of this, and that's the honest truth. But just keep yourself open to different styles of music, and just really work hard. And yeah, it can be luck, it can be right place, right time, but just don't give up.
I love beautiful advice. Yeah, thank you so much. We actually have, speaking about hard work and dedication and determination, we have the one and only Kyle Smith in the chat. And that's what he does all day, every day in the California. He's like constantly just booking his own shows, constantly just doing it. And, he's the proof that you don't have to be signed to a record label to still be able to make your dreams come true. And I just love that so much. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We're going to start wrapping this up. So drop your questions if you have any in the comments. So what's your best piece of advice besides, don't give up and practice and stay humble?
Well, it's always kind of a good idea to keep yourself, always make sure that you know where your strengths are, and just be, just don't be, I just try not to put a damper on things, but don't be super ambitious, but just with the determination, just make sure you know what the reality is for you. I mean, I've had reality checks before, and that's not an issue, but they're not the kind of reality checks that think, oh, I don't know if I can do this, if that's the case. But you always look at how you can do it. Being a musician is not easy, and especially because we live in a generation where nobody really makes any money through music or anything. There are ways to do it, but it's not the old-fashioned way of starting up a band, writing songs, doing a couple of gigs, because that's not going to be enough. Just see if you can do so much. Think of different avenues. Think of just open your horizons.
So like collaborations are really good, not turning down any.
Oh, actually, yeah, because that's something I have done on YouTube as well, because I have done a couple of Led Zeppelin covers on YouTube with a couple of musicians on there, and I'm open to doing those kind of things because they're fun to do, and it's a good way of promoting my music. And I'm also there is another project that I'm doing at the moment, but I'm keeping it just under wraps until I get around to doing it. But it's a sort of metal project as well that I'm doing.
Wow, girl, you are just killing it over there. I am so proud of you. You give me so much motivation and inspiration. And thank you, because I feel like you give so many people motivation and inspiration, and just everybody seeing how much hard work you put into this, and it can be done, it can be done. So thank you so much for sharing that insight with us.
Yeah, no problem.
I do appreciate it so much. So when's the next show? Actually, before I ask that, when are you coming to the United States? When do we get to see Keira Kenworthy in the flesh?
Well, I have been thinking about probably coming over again, but it's unfortunately, it's because, if I'm going to be honest, it's not easy for me to do gigs over there because of visas and stuff. If I'm going to give you the real, again, think of the reality check here. To do gigs over there, you do have to have work visas and stuff like that.
Well, but real quick, have you seen the show 90 Day Fiance? We could get you a 90-day visa. We just have to pretend to get married, and then we could get you that visa, girl.
Yeah. But yeah, I am planning to probably go to America again. I have been having thoughts about probably going over probably later in the year, but it just all depends on what happens in the way of gigs, because if I've got loads of gigs coming up, I'll be very busy with that. But definitely I'm wanting to come over again.
Dad says no way to the 90-day visa. No, okay, we're not getting married. Okay, fine, we're dropping that. Lane Patterson.
Did you know that's a joke, right, Dad?
It's all a joke. It's one of my favorite shows. Have you ever seen 90 Day Fiance?
I've heard about it, but I don't really.
It's awful.
I don't partake in reality TV. I just think it's brain dead TV for some, but it's just doesn't. Although I do like Great British Bake Off, because I like when people try to compete to make something really nice, like bake a cake, or also making pottery, stuff, practical stuff.
Sure.
Strictly Come Dancing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, 90 Day Fiance is cool.
I don't really care for things like the Kardashians and stuff. or Love Island, or it just is like, it's not my thing, not my cup of tea.
Excuse me. Okay, Lane Patterson asks, when doing an online collaboration, how do you like to start? Do you prefer having drum tracks in place, or do you like to play to the band that you're doing the cover / tribute to?
Okay, well, when I did the collaborations for the Led Zeppelin covers, I was given, the way it worked is I would have the drums and the guitar to start off with. They didn't do the vocals until the vocals were the very last thing that they did. So they would have the drums and the guitar in place when I did them. And that's so far the only main experience I've had. I've also did a collab. Well, actually, it's not just a collaboration. I'm actually working with a guitarist in York called Craig Shutt. And he is, my God, if you've seen his stuff, he is an amazing guitarist. And I remember a few years back, we did a cover of Trooper by Iron Maiden. And that wasn't a track. We just showed up. We just got a backing track played, and we just played it and recorded it. But later down the line, I was given a backing track with drums and guitar, and then they just put the vocals on and do the usual stuff.
Very cool, very cool. So when is your next show? And will you be streaming live? Because we want to see it, girl.
I'd have to, so my next show is with Sam and Shelley Walker, and they're performing hits. I don't think it's a lot. It's being streamed live, but it's like a festival with all these female artists. At a place called Club 85. And then after that, I think the next gig that I'm doing is the 8th of April in Leeds with Pretty Addicted. Again, not sure. The thing is, I'm never sure if these are being streamed live, but you're going to get footage anyway, because people just record it on their phone. There's this wonderful invention called a phone, and people use it all the time.
Yes, that is true. That is true. We're living in those days where we can record anything at any time with this magical device.
My only criticism is I don't think the sound is particularly great on a phone, because it's not, you don't have, especially if I'm playing the bass, I can't really hear the bass very well unless you put it through headphones or something. But
sure. Yeah. Somebody definitely needs to work on the bass management on these phones, because we cannot hear any bass and we need the bass boosted.
Yeah, if they need to make a sort of EQ device. If you're able to change the EQ on the sound card of the phone, it will make life so much easier.
Get on that, okay? That's the money maker. Get on that and let's make that happen. Awesome. We have been on here for about an hour. I've had such a good time with you. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this last minute. You're so kind, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Anytime. If you want to do another interview and just check updates and stuff. I will, so before I do, I will just forward my social media. If people want to check what I'm doing, I've got my Facebook page. So all of them kind of start off with Keira Kenworthy official. That's the name of the pages. So I've got Instagram, I've got YouTube, I've got Twitter, but I don't really use it because it's just me. But Facebook, Instagram, YouTube are my main 3 social media channels.
Awesome. I will drop all of those links in the comments as soon as we are done. I want everybody to go and follow Kiera. She is going to great heights, and she's an amazing bass player. So many different projects she's playing with, so many fun projects. I just can't wait to see everything that unfolds for you in the next couple of years. We're definitely going to do another interview. And if that's all, let's say bye on 3. Do you have anything else you want to add before we go?
Just, I hope everyone is happy, healthy, stay safe, and thoughts and prayers to Ukraine. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.